All right, so let's move to the last part of this. We're going to take a look at the subfields of psychology. You're going to notice that there are a lot. A lot of kids, when they move into the study of psych, they think it's just kind of, you sit there and you listen to a person's problems, and then you diagnose them and you give them meds every once in a while. But the fields of psychology are very, very different, and they involve multiple different opportunities that a person could go towards. So it's really important that you understand that not all psychologists do the same thing. So, first thing to keep in mind is the kind of research that a psychology subfield will carry out. The first is basic. Basic research is just that you want to know the answer to a question that you have about behavior and mental process, so you go about researching it. And once you get that answer, then you feel good about it and you're good to go, and you don't feel the necessity to take it the next step. This is where biological subfields will come into play. They're going to look at the connection, the physiological connection between the mind and the body. You're going to look at developmental psychology in this subfield. So you're going to take a look at how we age and how our behaviors change as we grow older. You're going to look at cognitive psych as well. Take a look at thought processes and how they influence the behaviors that we act on. You can be a personality psychologist, where you look at the traits that a person will act on a really consistent basis, regardless of the environment that they're in. You can also be a social psychologist and take a look at how the environment influences a person and their behavior. So here you go. This is a breakdown of those various different subfields with basic research. And you'll notice that developmental and social psychologists are going to be the largest percentage of those subfields. Then you have applied research. Applied is when you do that basic level of inquiry and you look into understanding why people behave the way that they do, and then you take it a step further and you try to apply it to change the person's behavior. So this is where we get into more traditional means of psychology, such as counseling, psychiatry, clinical psychologists, things like that. So an industrial or organizational psychologist is going to take the research and the understanding that they have of people's behavior, and they're going to put it to work in the workplace. So they'll work at companies like GE, Kroger, P&G, and they'll tell the higher-ups in the administrative positions, managers, what to do to get their people more motivated, to make them want to work there more. Because the more productive a person is, the more money you're making as a company. So it's really an actually pretty cool subfield to go into. You can do sports psychology. A lot of kids are interested in this. You help athletes set goals for themselves, run a faster 40, be able to throw a better curveball, improve your aim when it comes to penalty kicks, anything along those lines. So professional sports teams do have sports psychologists. Even colleges and universities do too. You can become a school psychologist. This is where you help teachers understand various different learning disabilities that students might have, organizational issues that they might have. You can help students overcome those issues as well in this subfield. You can become counselors. So this is where you start to help people with anything from academic issues, vocational struggles, so having difficulty figuring out what you want to do in terms of a job, or even, divorce, people going through marital counseling and things like that. Then you can move into clinical psychology. This is where you help people with psychological disorders, but you're not as inclined to prescribe medication. Clinical psychologists don't deal with the really, really, really heavy kind of stuff that psychologists do, and so they try to help those with psychological disorders overcome and treat their issues, but they don't do it with medication like a psychiatrist does. So you can see that clinical psychology is the biggie in terms of the applied subfield, but counseling psychology is fairly large as well. So this is the last little bit that we need to cover for today's structure. Difference between clinical and psychiatrist. Got to tell you that this will come up on the AP exam. They love to trip you up on this, so I can guarantee you it'll be on the Unit 1 test too. You got to know the difference. A clinical psychologist is a doctor. However, they are a doctor of physiology or psychiatry, okay? Or in some scenarios, philosophy. So they have a PhD, they went to grad school, but they don't have a medical license to practice like a psychiatrist does. So they are considered to be a medical doctor. They went through med school, they went through a residency, they did an internship. So because they have much higher levels of schooling, they do get paid more than a clinical psychologist, and they do prescribe medication. So they deal with the very, very, very severe cases. So hopefully this wasn't a whole lot of information to throw at you all at once. The really nice thing about video notes is that you can pause, you can stop at any point when I'm going through this, you can rewind, go back to something in case you missed it. So it gives you the opportunity to really individualize what it is that you're doing. I hope I haven't distracted you too much with all of the ums that I've given in this. I really am trying to work on that. But obviously, if you have any questions about what we covered in this today, bring them to class for tomorrow. See you guys later.